another episode that is very dear to my heart. And the reason why is because it just happened to me. If you have listened to any of my previous episodes, you know that I try to share things that have happened to me, things that I've learned from, and I want to share that with you so you can hopefully avoid the mistakes that I made. Now, this one is a tough one for me because the honest truth is I should have known better. I have lost virtual drives before. I have lost hard drives. I have accidentally bumped my computer off my desk and broken my screen. If you are wondering what I'm talking about, I am talking about backing up your data if and when you lose your computer. So let's jump into this. This is something that just recently happened to me. We are in the middle of a launch. We are so excited, but here's some things that can happen when you are in the middle of a launch. Things can get lost. Things can get forgotten. Things that you didn't even know that you were supposed to do, you need to do. So what happened to me was we were getting ready to point all the websites where they were supposed to be. Now, I want to preface this by saying that I have an excellent team. These are people that know what they are doing because I do not. I often say that I only know enough to be dangerous, and that is true. So I want you to know that this was not something that I was doing because it would have been way worse had I tried to do it. So basically what happened is we lost the websites. And as crazy as that sounds, they were gone. So all this time, effort, love, sweat, blood, tears, everything that everyone had been pouring their hearts and souls into was gone. Poof. Now, if that doesn't strike fear in your heart, it definitely should, because it did mine. Now, like I mentioned, I have lost stuff before. I've accidentally bumped my computer off the desk. That was me. That was no one else's fault but mine. It was completely by myself. I had it plugged into the wall. I thought I could shimmy over the cord, and unfortunately, that was a no-go. Boom, hit the ground, lost the screen. Now, while I still had the computer, which was awesome that my computer person, Kevin, who's amazing, was able to get in and get all the information off my computer so that way everything was saved. But again, that's another lesson to be learned. That should have never even been an issue. Everything should have been backed up. Now, I will say that we have backed things up, but not every day. And I think a lot of people, if they haven't backed up at all, they definitely haven't backed up on a weekly basis. So let's circle back to the website issue. So what happened ultimately was that the websites were just missing for a couple days. Now, I was in a bit of panic because I realized we didn't have a backup of it. Now, GoDaddy, who does my hosting, now they had a daily backup of it. But the problem with that is I don't own that. And if you've been out on social media, you know that things can happen. You know that programs can fail. I mean, let's remember back to the day when Instagram failed. I mean, that was crazy. When I got on to do a live video and there was no Instagram. So this is just a cautionary tale for everyone who has not backed up their data. It's something you've got to do, and you've got to do it today. You know, on this podcast, I give you short, easy, little bites of things to do. And today is your day to back up all your stuff. So now you can do that in different ways. You can do that. We do it all in Dropbox, so it makes it easy. We have an unlimited Dropbox, so we just back up everything there. There's all sorts of different services. The bottom line is, it doesn't matter where you do it or which service or if someone does it for you. The point is, you gotta do it. There's so many benefits of doing it, because think about this too. It's not just you accidentally bumping your computer off the table. It's websites going missing, taking days for them to come back. It could be something like an evacuation. I mean, that's going on right now here in Washington. We've got a ton of fires. We know people that have been evacuated from their homes. So what happens with that is firemen show up. You've got 8 minutes to grab all your essentials and you're out of there. And they're not playing when it comes to those time frames. So that's another thing to keep in mind, is if you lost your computer, if you had to leave in the middle of the night without your computer, could you access that data anywhere else? My guess is probably not. So you've got quick access to your files if for some reason you weren't able to get to your computer. Obviously, the thing that people mention the most about backing up your data is the loss of your hard drive. I lost my virtual drive one time. So what that is I go back and forth between PC and Apple. Now, of course, we've made the switch to all Apple, so that's not necessarily a thing, but my virtual drive failed and all the documents that were on that, gone. So again, another reason to back up your data. Now, I will say that this story has a happy ending. We were able to find the websites. They came back up. They're actually back up now. I'm so excited for them to be back online because let me tell you, it was a nail biter, but it could have easily been avoided by backing up our data. Now we have a plugin that backs up our WordPress website. That's what we use. So that is backed up every single day. Now GoDaddy, our hosting site, they also back up every day. So we've got a double layer of protection. That's the most important part to remember. Now, for me too, this is another thing, not just the websites being missing, but for me, photos are super important. Scrapbooking is my hobby. I love photos. I have a ton of them. I have like 30,000 photos. So not only are those backed up on iCloud, but those are actually also backed up in our Dropbox as well. So that way, if one fails, we've got a backup of the other, because let's be honest, phones fail, phones get dropped in toilets. I mean, it happens. Things happen to our phones. So you want to make sure that that data is all backed up. So if you take anything from this episode, please back up your data. I know that you probably have horror stories of either things that have happened to you specifically or things that have happened to someone that you've known, but it's super important that you back up, back up, back up.